Good evening. You are tuned to KGVM Bozeman, Gallatin Valley Community Radio, 95.9 FM, kgvm.org on the interwebs. It is time tonight for the local musician spotlight. We're out here in the Tune Factory. I do want to thank our sponsors, Slam, supporting local artists and musicians, who is in full gear planning for the summer festival in early August. And also Colombo's Pizza and Pasta. They're making fresh sandwiches and pizza from their store at the corner of 10th and College using fresh ingredients. And we thank them very much for their support. And we're in the Tune Factory tonight with Bryan McPherson.
You never know unless you try. We are two birds flying in the wind. I go around the world and I come back again. 'Cause there's something about your eyes, and it makes me grateful to be alive. I've been to the darkest corners in time, flown with dragons, with dead eyes. I've been rained on out in the hell. I've been a tornado blowing out a trail. We are two birds flying in the wind. I go around the world and I come back again. 'Cause there's something about this ride makes me grateful to be alive. Right now I'm flying over every wall. If my wings ever fail, at least I tried to set sail. We are two birds flying in the wind, and I go around the world and I come back again. 'Cause there's something about this life, and it makes me grateful to be alive. And it makes me grateful to be alive. And it makes me grateful to be alive.
Nice. I want to thank you for coming in tonight. I was wondering if maybe you could just kind of let people know how you came to be here in Bozeman, playing on the local musician spotlight.
Well, I've been following the White Rabbit, man. So I am from Boston, Massachusetts originally, and I moved west in 2010, moved to California. I lived in different parts of California, made made a bunch of records over the years, and got a van and toured all over North America, States, Canada, Europe, and I've been through Montana quite a bit over those years. And in 2021, I was living in Los Angeles, and it was just not a vibe. So I was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Montana. So I packed up my storage unit, fit everything I could in my car, closed my P.O. box, and I just started driving up here. I didn't even have a place lined up or anything, and was just on Craigslist trying to finagle stuff, and things lined up, and here I am.
Nice. Yeah, it's I was trying to do a little prep for the interview, which, if I'm being brutally honest with myself, I most often fail to do. But I was doing a little looking, and it's like, wow. So, I'd seen you were from Boston, then had been down in L.A., and I got here and saw a local plate on the car. I was like, huh. So
well, the first thing I did was get rid of that California plate.
Well,
it is up here.
Turns out that's probably not the worst idea you might have. It's there's a little bit of weird stuff going on about that right now. Yeah. So, I think that song you just played is what the lead and cut off your newest album.
Yeah,
is that
that's
right?
the first song on my new album called How to Draw Everything. That song is called Two Birds.
Nice. But you've got quite a few albums out there that.
Yeah, I think I made 5 records. I think that was my 5th full length.
Yeah.
And then there's some like singles and live stuff kind of kicking around on Bandcamp and stuff like that. 14 Stories, American Boy, American Girl, Wedgwood, King's Corner, and How to Draw Everything. So 5 full-length studio albums.
Nice. It's I was kind of looking. I was intrigued to notice some tie-ins to some Boston punk bands.
Yeah.
In your past.
Yeah, I am a old punk rocker. I loved like punk rock and folk growing up. I listened to a lot of singer-songwriters and a lot of like punk. So my kind of style has kind of been, I weave in and out of both of those, but I just kind of came up in the Boston music scene and the punk scene, and I ended up doing a lot of shows, opening up punk shows for different like Dropkick Murphys, the Ducky Boys, all these like 90s and obviously present day punk bands and stuff. So, and then when I moved to California to the East Bay, I just kind of fell in with a lot of folks in the East Bay punk scene as well, and did a lot of shows around with folks at like Gilman. I've played there a couple times, and different bands around there. And so yeah, I've kind of weaved in and out of punk and like folkier Americana kind of circles.
It seems sometimes a little counterintuitive to me, but I think that intersection between folk and punk happens a lot. And I guess it really shouldn't seem like that to me, because I mean, all punk is folk on steroids, right? Just speed it up, right?
Yeah.
But the kind of the subject matter a lot of times, and like the populist message and stuff is pretty much the same. So,
yeah, I've always thought they were cousins. It seemed obvious to me. It was this kind of primitive, lyrical, emotive, simplified, at least from a technical standpoint, more accessible, and rebellious. So
yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, I think sometimes I think maybe people forget or haven't poked into it enough to know that folk music was pretty rebellious music for a long time, and maybe I don't know when, but maybe in the late 60s or into the 70s, maybe it sometimes lost a little of that edge. But you go back and listen to some of the old records. I mean, go back and listen to some old Woody Guthrie, and he was on edge there.
When I first heard like Bob Dylan and like Free Will and Bob Dylan and like Masters of War and stuff, I was like, oh my, wow, what? Just one guy singing a song, and it just like punched me in the face. I was like, this is intense.
Yeah, gets your attention right off the bat. Yeah, I wonder if maybe you want to play some songs.
Yeah, I'll be doing more of my folkier stuff, so my newer album. So awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody. This song is called Sweet Carrie. You're as cold as the river's cold, and I'm as young as you are old. And a story forever unfolds in a crack, in a question, in a code. I grew up in the city, it's my home, with the people that I've come to know, and the love that I'm too afraid to show. Is the fire burning in my bones, sweet Carrie, your love is leaving me, lost in the fog and the breeze, one less lover to leave. And the regret in my eye, now I'm a homeless man holding a sign, and you just drive by, and my words are just letters left behind. But I'm coming to believe that the world is bigger than just me, and all the people that I meet, they're all the people that I need. Sweet Carrie, your love is leaving me, lost in the fog and the breeze, one less lover to leave. Here's another song for the road, but it's something you can never hold, and it's lonesome, lonely, alone, but it's easier to sing than a poem, and I can hear you cry. It's a siren in disguise, and them dogs bark right on time, and we are gonna be all right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. I like that. It's easier to sing than a poem. I like that line. That kind of stuck out.
Thanks. It just showed up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna retune real quickly. I was like, I have to change my strings. Well, I should, because it's responsible, because I just played a bunch of gigs on these. I don't want to pop one, but when I change my strings, they just get they get a mind of their own for a few days.
Yeah.
And they just go in and out of tune, so that's the risk. Okay, here's another song. This one's called Shooting Star. It's a long and dusty road I've been traveling all alone. I can feel it in my bones. I'm a solitary soul, and as far as I have roamed, through streets of pain and cold, through every story told, you're the one I wanna hold. And as long as I can see, and as long as I can breathe, I was made for you, and you were made for me. And this is my song, and this is my heart. This is my voice in the dark, and this is my plea from afar. I'm coming home, shooting star, shooting star. Staring out the window, 5,000 miles away. You know that I can't leave, you know that I can't stay. You're everywhere I wandered, in every curve I trace, in a darkened constellation, 10 million miles away. This is my song, and this is my heart, and this is my voice in the dark, and this is my plea from afar. I'm coming home, shooting star. I'm coming home, shooting star. I'm coming home, shooting star. Sunrise on the horizon, this journey's one long night, shining on your door, front porch from satellite. You're the one that I dream of when I close my eyes at night. You're all that I can see when I look into the sky. This is my song, this is my heart, and this is my voice in the dark, and this is my plea from afar. I'm coming home, shooting star. I'm coming home, shooting star. I'm coming home, shooting star, shooting star. Thank you. All right. I'm going to do one more song before my super long song. This would be the normal length song. This song is called Troubled Times, and I wrote it after a very bad day. Like, it's having which has been a common theme, I suppose.
A lot of people had a couple of those a couple of years ago, I think.
And bear with me, folks. Almost done tuning. Oops, there we go.
It's kind of hard to imagine that the start of COVID was 3 years ago.
I still think it's 2020.
I mean, time got all kind of kitty-wumpus there for a while.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, it's 2023? Like, what happened? So, all right. Here we go. when I lay my head down on the concrete and ground in a stranger town of the lost glory bound. Won't you take my troubled times? Won't you take my troubled times? Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. When the thunder is roaring and a cold wind is blowing, when the rain is roaring and a murder is crowing, won't you take my troubled times? 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 God, oh God, oh God, oh God. When the thunder is roaring and a cold wind is blowing and the rain is roaring and a murder is crowing, when it's my time to go, let me rock, let me roll, while the river I flow, on my soul going home. Won't you take my troubled times? Won't you take my troubled times? Won't you take my troubled times? Won't you take my troubled times?
Another little gem in there. I like that line, "The murder is crowing." you started into it in the murder, and I was like, man, I wonder where this is going to go. And it's like, oh, okay. That was awesome.
That was a clever one.
Yeah, I like that.
That makes me think of my mom. She loves the Crows. Hi, Mom.
If you're just tuning in, you are tuned to the local musician spotlight here on KGVM Bozeman. We're 95.9 FM, kgvm.org online, and I'd like to take this minute to thank Pat Loken for doing all the work here, providing the space, doing the audio, the video, the setup, the organization, really the everything, so I can just come in here, listen to great music, and chat a little bit. And if you are listening to this on the radio, you can also be watching it on YouTube. It's a live stream, and it'll be available after the fact on the Loken Productions YouTube channel, which I think it was just last week reached 1,000 subscribers. So at this point, if you're not subscribed, you really have to start to worry about, you're missing out. You're kind of behind the 8 ball. You need to get caught up. So subscribe and find out when we're doing all of these fun things. So again, Brian, I want to thank you for coming in. And I was kind of curious. You were talking about opening for the Dropkick Murphys and some other punk bands and stuff. And when you did that, did you play many of your kind of folkier songs, or did you play a little faster ones? Or
I mean, once or twice I might have tried that. I was like, well, that's not really going to work. So I do try to play a little more folkier kind of joints. Unless I'm in a really bad mood, I'm like, yeah, book some punk shows. My newer record's kind of a little, not really on the punk side. I'd say it's more of a
folkier.
singer-songwriter-y kind of folkier record,
Yeah.
with the exception of a couple songs.
Yeah. Well, there are some places to play those kinds of songs around here, so.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking to play more in the area. I'll be at Pine Creek doing a little brunch thing, and over the summer, July 30th. If you're listening, come on out. Should be a good time.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat Pine Creek in the summer in the sun on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, so.
Sounds good to me.
What are there any particular influences on your songwriting that you can think of?
Lately, no. I mean, earlier on, like Bob Dylan, punk rock, Rancid, anything like when I was figuring it out, like how do I feel like I can write songs, but I don't know how. So there was like a period in the beginning of like, how do I do this thing so you kind of emulate, I suppose.
Right.
But then when I kind of found it, like all of a sudden I just started writing songs. Like it went from like trying to sing over something and trying to blend them together. Like, oh, how do I put the words and the music together? And then one day they just came out at like the same time, and it was like a rope. So there was these threads that were combined, but it was one thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of when it clicked, and I was like, and then since then I've just been chasing songs, really. They just come, and then I have to like record them, and new ones come, and I love writing songs. I love when they happen. I don't really try to do it, I can't really consciously do it so much. I just kind of have to make myself available when they want to come.
Let them drop in.
Yeah, they show up.
I was kind of curious, now that you're here in Montana, do you think that, have you written songs, I assume, since you've been here?
Yeah, I wrote a bunch of songs last winter, actually. And this winter I've been recording them myself. On my last record, on How to Draw Everything, like I had a really great producer, Ted Hott, won a Grammy. He's produced all kinds of amazing artists. We recorded at this world-class studio. Got super professional people playing on it, and this one, it's like it's just me, like in a room, and I've made my own records before in the past, so I know kind of what I'm doing. I know not to make it clip.
Yeah.
And then I know give it to a professional to mix it. So I don't know, still don't know what I'm going to do with this, if it's a bunch of demos or if it's a record, but I'm going to figure that out pretty soon.
Yeah. Do you feel that has the locale and the environment and stuff, did it change the way that you wrote songs after getting out of California, out of LA, or?
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't think it changed the way I wrote them, but the topics.
Yeah.
It was very, very influential, my environment, because I was down in Paradise Valley, and Emigrant Peak was right out the window, and it was minus 30, and it was like, it was a vibe. So like things, after everything over the last couple of years, I went through a lot over the last couple of years, and a lot of stuff just kind of poured out of me, and at the same time, I was trying to like release my album last winter, so I didn't have so much time to like make another record. I was trying to get this one out, so I just wrote, and then after that, I was like ironing them out, and then last winter, I'm like, well, I got to start doing something with these things. So
shepherding them along the process.
Yeah, I got to start recording and make another record. So.
Yeah. It's not that I know anything. I wouldn't have the slightest idea about what it takes or how it proceeds with writing a song, but I've got to imagine that, the place you're at and the situation you're in and stuff must, at least, I mean, certainly subconsciously, it's got to have some major influence on the way things develop.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like whatever I'm around or have experienced kind of ends up in a song. And I kind of feel like I'm a sponge, and I go out and I like live life, right? I live my life, whatever I'm doing, whatever it may be. And I kind of soak these experiences in, and then at some point I pick up a guitar and I'm just like, bleh, and
you just squeeze the sponge and out they come.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't come for a while, it'll be 6 months where I don't do anything. And then in a month I'll just crank out, like last winter I cranked out like 12 songs in a couple months. It was just like, I was just writing.
when it gets to be writing that much, it's not comfortable. You're kind of just like, I really want to do something else, you know? Like,
Yeah.
this song's running around in my head all day, and then another one comes. But I mean, it's also kind of what I really enjoy too. So
Yeah. I suppose when the muse decides to pay a visit, you kind of want to let him in, huh?
yeah, that's what you got. You know, it's like I've heard someone else say it. Like I think it was Tom Waits, and he was like talking about the songwriting process and how he's like driving somewhere and song started spinning around in his head, and he's like, you know what? Not today. Give that to somebody else. Someone else is gonna write that one. And it just like went along.
Let it go.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea, though, that these songs are just like they're out there as sort of these independent things looking for a host, right? A place to land.
Another great analogy, I heard a songwriter, I forget who said it, but he said they're like statues buried in the sand, and you're just kind of uncovering them. And it was already there, but now you're discovering it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's a trippy thing, the whole songwriting thing.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Like any art or creative sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I think Michelangelo said something like that about sculpting. It's like, you know, it's already in there. I'm just taking all the extra rock off.
Yeah,
And,
right?
you
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Yeah.
that's pretty wild to think about. Your role in the process, just being the custodian, clean it up and let it loose.
I'm not building, I'm taking away.
Yeah.
All right.
I suppose that's certainly probably true in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you want to do your long song.
All right, folks. Get ready to pay attention. This is a long song. I wrote this song when I had a very bad toothache. It was so bad that I coughed up a song about the last 10 years of my life traveling around singing songs, and probably my life story as well as the history of the United States. And it's called American Dream. It's on YouTube. You can watch a video. I made it in the desert in New Mexico and Navajo Nation. I'm just going to tune because this song is 20 minutes long. We recorded it in the studio at the end of like a 12-hour day, and it was time to do the live because I did it live in the studio. We tracked everything else for how to draw everything. So we're doing this one live at like 11 o'clock at night at 12 hours of doing everything. And so I cranked it out, 20 minutes, and they were like, oh, it sounded great, but the guitar went out of tune like halfway through.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, we're going to do it again.
Start over.
All right, here we go. American Dream. Caught in a flood in Barstow. My cell phone had a warning, but I still go. And the sky opened up, heaven came down, and then hell rose up and turned the water brown. I swam in the Gulf of Mexico, and Oahu down in Shark's Cove. I saw Niagara Falls with Jeff Rowe. It was a 4-day tour, but I never came home. And I had boiled peanuts in FLA. Then I drove up the coast behind the hurricane. I played a show in Brooklyn with the lights out. And then 3 months later, the ceiling fell down. Bruce Springsteen, New Jersey. Trenton and Clifton and Asbury. Charlotte, North Carolina. Fried pickles in the summertime. And you know I love the Milestone and them old punk rockers from broken homes. Summer nights in Louisville, Magnolia bars, Cicada Crew, Indiana sunset. I got just $50 left in my pocket. It was Virginia, 1983.
that I saw Jaws 3 in 3D. In 2017, I watched the Super Bowl in Myrtle Beach on the 11th floor of an off-season suite. I saw Tom Brady make history, and it was a sweet American dream. And then I played some shows in Tennessee, Nashville to Johnson City. I had a Smoky Mountain afternoon, hanging out in Memphis at Payne's Barbecue. So thank you to St. Louis, only Illinois and the whole Midwest, for helping me to tour on through. No one can ever say we never paid our dues. And I broke down in Chicago with English Louise in my Astro. Had an auto shop in the barrio. We had a car show in tacos. And I dove into Lake Michigan. I played a VFW in Reggaeland. I drove to Kalamazoo because I couldn't swim. Dennis Rodman, Detroit Pistons. Motown, Rock City, it's called the D. Eating pepperoni pizza down at Buddy's. I played Corktown on them cobblestone streets. You gotta park out back with security. It was RoboCop 1989. Clarence Boddicker was doing lines. Oh, Meg, white Jack, white stripes down the river at Clementine. So I packed the van and I headed west, out to Iowa, Cedar Rapids. I played a basement show and tore it down, 'cause they don't mess around in Cedar Rapids town. I had a dream of Colorado, then I woke up there in a Walmart in my snow-covered van. I spent 3 nights in Fort Collins, right after the Boston bombing that I heard about in Kansas, at a roadside buffet with Jesus. He said, you know, I died for freedom of speech and the right to defend myself from tyranny. And it was a sweet American dream. But I don't know much about DC. But I played a show in Reno with 2 Fugazis. They said if you're looking for a show, you can email me. And then they jumped in a van and they flew back east. Because yippee-ki-yay, we all die hard, just like Amarillo's Cadillac cars. And every state line's gonna leave a scar, like the broken guitar from a dead rock star. They don't dial 911 in Texas, but they eat Texas-shaped waffles for breakfast. And I never done played South by Southwest, but I played in the streets for the vagrants. And I ran from the water in Houston. I had to dodge a mass shooting. I'm a crisis actor who's never been paid. Well, good goddamn the CIA. And I met Slash out in LA, in the San Fernando Valley on a Friday. He said, I like your music, it makes me angry. And then he played his guitar in a bowling alley. I was in Berkeley, California for an earthquake. Epicenter El Cerrito, but it kept me awake. And if Mario Savio were alive, he'd say, oh, hey, what's the matter with kids today? 'Cause it's mighty cold in SFB. I played a protest for the NSA. I occupied Oakland on a Tuesday. We had to run down San Pablo to MLK. I was headed down south for my getaway, and I got drunk in Cancun, and Senor Frogs floated in a balloon. I saw the federales, the boys in blue, and I made love to a prostitute, and it was a sweet American dream. Then I was flying down I-80 to the Great Salt Lake for Laramie. I had a 2-night stand at the garage on Beck. Well, thank you, Utah Phillips. $200 guaranteed. Singing next to the refinery. I was headed up to the Pacific Northwest, and them black-haired beauties in the green forest. Seattle from Bremerton, Puget Sound, Washington, and old Montana. You can make me cry, just like a mountain lion in the middle of the night. And I camped out on the Yellowstone, on a hot spring in a dirt road. I drew a line in the sand on the Oregon coast, in the state of Jefferson, in the country of gold. In Spokane Rainbow, I was just running out of gas in Shannago, where everyone you meet fights a hard battle, said Ian McLaren, not Plato. Though we might have stolen it from Aristotle, I had to look it up on Google. So be all you can be, not with Socrates, but the army. And New Hampshire said, live free or die. I was driving under Arizona sky. It was just like Ellis Island on the 4th of July. 120 Fahrenheit. And I got love for Mexico, green chili shiprock in the Navajo. You could see me on the side of the road, Instagramming photos, Portland, Maine Chinos, drawing Louis Rossignol, and it's a bomb cyclone, Vermont Maple Rodeo. I took a Chinatown bus down to Baltimore. I was 1,500 miles from Mount Rushmore. I had a Statue of Liberty as my escort. We went to Gettysburg, had a Civil War. In Morrisville, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. I seen a coal mine in West Virginia. They saved the Bear River. Smoking Oklahoma at the high-low. I was looking for a more tornado. I came mighty close to Alaska, Prince Rupert, British Columbia. And Christopher McCandless, I want to thank ya. In the wild, wild country you went into, nobody ever dies in vain. And on the day you died, freedom rang. And it was a sweet American dream. American dream. ever made it to New Orleans, but I saw Kanye West on the TV. And the coast of Louisiana, between Baton Rouge and Alabama, I had crawdads on my newspaper with my Boston accent, I'll tell ya. You can't pocket Harvard Yard, mother. Oh, nor would I ever wanna. I saw Mary Lou Lord in Central Square. She was singing on the subway, then she disappeared. I took the red line to the green line to Leechmere. I saw Kurt Cobain nowhere. And I met a girl from Chino in the big red barn in Oswego. And we got it on in the back of my van. Just a good goddamn on an American man. And my uncle moved to Ohio. I met him at Sandusky at the Cracker Barrel. And then he paid the bail, slipped me a C-note. We shot and spit, then I hit the road. I played in Omaha at the Sydney with Michael Schlesinger in a TBA, booked by my friend Zachary, because Zach really knows how to party. And I spent a couple nights in Atlanta, oh, drove all over Georgia and North Dakota. It's colder than Minnesota. I sang an Irish song in St. Paul. Oh no, it ain't Minneapolis at all. I saw Juliette Lewis at a Hollywood ball, had to jump a Canadian border wall. But I had my court papers with me to say I was arrested a couple times in 1998. It was my misspent youth and I'm really sorry. They said, hey, welcome to Canada, A. So I played from Halifax to Toronto, PEI, Montreal, Vancouver to the Palomino, Calgary, Edmonton, Kamloops, but the left and the right gonna Colombo with irony and a snowball. But like Tupac and Biggie Smalls, whoever shoots first is the second to fall. Brown shirts, red shirts, building walls. And I spent the night in Mississippi at a hotel room in Biloxi. And I was so tired I fell asleep. Then I had this most incredible dream. It said, Martin Luther King, when will we allow freedom to ring? Well, it rings every day when a child sings, and it rings every day when a child sings. And it's my country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty. That's a mouthful, that one.
That's, yeah, I mean, you got through that whole thing without a teleprompter. That's kudos. It's more than a couple lyrics.
It took a while to remember.
I kind of like those kind of travelogue songs. And I thought it was interesting, all of the other threads that kind of weave in and out of it, like movie references.
Yeah.
That seemed like kind of interesting that all of a sudden those would pop up in there.
You're like, what? Jaws 3 and RoboCop? Where did those come from?
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening, those are classics.
Yeah.
At least RoboCop is. Jaws 3 is kind of disappointing.
I can't remember. Just the other day I was talking to somebody that I work with that's substantially younger, and we made some reference to some movie and didn't really get a reaction. And finally somebody else said, yeah, he's probably never seen that. And I was just, it didn't add up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when that stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, "Did you ever hear of this movie Die Hard?" You're like, "Yeah,
yeah.
I lived it, man. I was there when it happened."
Yeah, so that's on your new album.
That song is called American Dream. It's on my new record, How to Draw Everything. And you can access all that stuff at my website, bryanmcpherson.com, Bryan with the Y. That'll take you to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, whatever your streaming or video deal is.
Yeah. KGVM is a community radio station, so we do a lot of public service announcements. So I'll make a PSA to say people should buy their music instead of rent it, because I also know that you can find those things on Bandcamp, and, you know.
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but
I will definitely say it. It's
I'm on Bandcamp. You can buy the vinyl directly from me.
There you go. It's
a double LP, 45 RPM, baby. It's coming at you loud out of that turntable.
There you go. I've been surprised, and I'm not quite sure why, but the resurgence of vinyl, it was kind of starting to happen. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe it is a thing, and now it's a real thing. And, and it just is. It took me aback, I guess, because so much of everything else is going in the direction of, like, non-tangible. Mm-hmm. Apparently, young people got over this pack rat thing that us old farts have, that, you got to have this stack of LPs that you drag around everywhere if you ever move or anything. But it seems like people are gravitating back to the LP format, and which I think is pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think, people like a physical representation. I was just over and I played in London a couple weeks ago, which was awesome. Got to do a bunch of shows over there, and this gentleman came up to me and he bought my record, and he's like, I love the cover art. He's like, that's what I was like. What is that? I need to like it, because it's like, it's big and you can like see like
you can see it.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I when CDs were starting to take off, I'm like, man, the cover art is just pretty much dead. And liner notes, they would be printed in this crappy ink, so that even if you had 14 magnifying glasses, you still couldn't read it.
Oh, I know. Like I did the cover art on my last record, and I had to do two versions because I do have CDs as well as LPs, and so it was okay. How do I shrink everything down now?
Yeah. What can you leave out so that you can get this all?
Yeah,
shrink?
Exactly.
Yeah. There are some people that say that you have to do that to the music too, to put it in a digital format, I guess. I'm not.
Yeah.
My ears are maybe not good enough to pick out some of that, but
it
they
all
say
sounds
that.
good to me. You know, I like all the formats. I think they all have their time and place.
Yeah. So do you feel like kind of settling in here in the Bozeman area and feeling pretty good? Think you're going to stick around?
Yeah. For the foreseeable future, yeah, I think I'll be here for a while.
Nice.
It's gone well. Things kind of lined up, and I've been kind of getting back out on the road and stuff over the last year or so. So I used to be like a road maniac. I was just on the road half the time, and the other half of the time I was setting up the road.
Yeah.
So it's been good to take a step away from that lifestyle, because it gets a little crazy. Like it's not healthy mentally sometimes just to be running around like a maniac, but start to miss it because that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. So done some touring and stuff in the last 9 months or so, and they've gone well. So I think I don't think I'll stop doing that. So
yeah,
but Montana's a good home base. You know? It's just the vibe is on point. The people are nice. The scenery's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's manageable. So
can't beat the scenery here.
Oh my God!
It's the one thing about basing out of here, if you have to fly anywhere, it's less easy than if you were in, say, LA. But I guess
it's easier.
Is it?
Oh, 1,000%, because I love it. You can park at the airport.
Yeah.
It's $10 a day. I mean, they'll probably get you for $50 down in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Airport parking, forget about it. Cruise over the hill, park at the airport. I'm through security in I don't even want to jinx it, but like 10 minutes, you know, I'm like, and I love it because I flew I went to London. I flew back from Heathrow, and that's like, you're there.
It's a whole production.
Yeah. And even like, it's funny, like when I fly out of Bozeman and I connect in like Salt Lake City or Denver or something, and I like get off the Bozeman plane and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? Like, who are all these people, man? Like, this is too much.
Yeah.
So I love flying out of that
getting
airport.
out of here.
I love picking people up there. I'm like, the first time I did that, I was like, you just drive right up. You just, in some of those other cities I lived in, it was just like, you have to follow all these directions. I end up lost. They don't know where you are. It's crazy. So, that's I love it. I love going to the airport. We should start driving Uber or something.
There you go. So you think that maybe these songs are maneuvering their way toward the next album?
Yeah. Well, all these songs I played tonight are on How to Draw Everything.
Yeah.
So the stuff I wrote last winter, I'm kind of hashing out now.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of demos. I did a bunch of recordings. I beefed up my interface. I got a new microphone, and I just hit it. I rented the house that I rented the previous winter. I guess I'm friendly with the landlord who didn't rent it out this winter. So I went back there and set up and recorded everything right where I had written everything for a couple weeks. And then since then, I've been listening to stuff and kind of adding some overdubs here and there and figuring it out.
Yeah.
So, I think they'll definitely find a way on to my next record. I think the question is just the production.
Yeah.
And how I want to approach it. If I want to do like the Bruce Springsteen in Nebraska guy in a room thing, or kind of beef it up a little bit. But I do like to do things differently. So the last record I did was bigger production. So I think more of an acoustic-y guy in a room kind of vibe thing might be suitable for it.
Kind of pared down a little bit.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
on point.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, and you said you'll be playing at Pine Creek this summer.
Yeah. I'm going out to Chicago next week. I'm doing a private party gig out there, so that'll be cool. And then coming back, and then in July 30th, I'll be at Pine Creek, and potentially looking to set up some more stuff locally. So I don't know what'll pop up. But yeah, that's the next one on the books.
Nice.
And then we just started working on Germany and some other European places potentially, and so in the fall, so mid-fall probably. I've got I've been out there a few times before, and I got some folks who are, I get letters or emails from Germans who they're so sweet because they're just like, I love your texts, and I'm like, oh, my lyrics, thank you. And so they're passionate about music in Germany, and they treat you really well, and it's, I was over there a couple times and I loved it. So I'm looking forward to going back.
Cool. I want to thank you for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to catching out and about, and maybe checking out the new album.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And hopefully people will keep it tuned right here to KGVM. We got a lot of great stuff coming up for you, and, today and every day. So keep it tuned here and have a great night, everyone.
Peace out.